So it doesn't matter how good your email marketing campaign is if you don't have anyone to send emails to. But how can you build a high quality email list that will actually drive traffic and ultimately revenue? Hey everyone, I'm Ian Campbell. I'm CEO of Mission Suite. Before we jump into today's video, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you're notified every time that we post new videos. I've been helping businesses with their marketing for over 20 years now, and in that time I've seen a lot of email campaigns. Some have been great, others, well, not so much. Every time that I talk to someone about email though, whether that's a Mission Suite client who's trying to get a new campaign launched, a new business owner trying to figure out how they're going to even start marketing their business, or even a well-established business trying to attack a new market, I get the same question. What's the best way to go about building out an email list? Email marketing is awesome, but in order to make it successful, you really do need a list to send those emails to, and it has to cast a wider net than just your friends and family. So let's dive into some ideas that you can explore as you're trying to grow your list. First of all, and above all else, make sure you're providing value in your emails. If you're not providing value, not only will you not be able to find new subscribers, but you'll actually start to lose the ones that you have. And when you're thinking about all this, remember that value is different to different people. What your prospects look at as being valuable content is going to be very different from what your sister looks at as valuable content. The important thing here is to provide content to your list that's valuable enough to your target audience. And I know that I've said this in the past, but it's important to keep in mind that it's okay if people unsubscribe from your list. Remember that building up a quality email list is more important than building up a large quantity of emails that don't really care about what you're offering. But if you are providing value, you have a solid and targeted list, and you have a page that's set up for people to sign up for your list, you'll see your list grow as people share your content and other targeted folks actually start to sign up for your email list as well. Making some sort of offer is probably the most well-known method of building up an email list. The idea here is pretty straightforward. You create some sort of downloadable content offer, maybe some videos, and you post it up to your website with a form in front of it so that people have to give you their email address in exchange for access to that content. In practice, though, it can be a bit more challenging. Sure, it's pretty simple to create the form, but finding content that's actually valuable enough to interest people into giving you their email addresses in exchange for is a whole different story. And on top of that, getting people to actually see your offer is easier said than done. So let's dig into these a little bit deeper as well. Now, first of all, creating valuable content. The easiest way to start this is to listen to your current clients and the leads and the prospects that you're working on. Listen for common questions that you're hearing over and over again and find a creative way to answer them. You can take the time to write up an entire ebook or a big in-depth blog article, but I like to start out a bit more simple. Start with something like a checklist, a top 10 style list, maybe a guide or some sort of downloadable reference card that people can print off. Make it valuable enough that people don't regret giving their email address for it, but simple enough that it doesn't take up a ton of time or break the bank to get it made. And now talking about getting the download opportunity in front of the right people to get them to actually download it, this can be a bit more of a challenge, right? Social advertising is typically the easiest answer to this dilemma because you can easily target the right audience and pay to get your form in front of their eyes. And that actually works even better now that Facebook and LinkedIn both have lead gen forms, so people don't even have to go to a landing page to download your content and give you their email address. And of course, this also requires a budget to work with. If you don't have a budget, you can still use social media. Find LinkedIn groups, find Facebook groups that you can interact with and make this offer to people as they express interest or some sort of a need for that information. You can also interact on places like Quora and Reddit, and depending on your industry, even some online forums, and take a similar path. Whatever you do here, though, just make sure that you're not just spamming people with your landing page link, but rather actually providing value, engaging in conversations, and only providing these links when it's actually relevant to the conversation. So I want to know if you've ever tried to build up your email list. If you have, do me a favor, give us a thumbs up. If you have any ideas that worked for you that you think other people should try too, let us know down in the comments below. Personally, partnerships are one of my favorite ways to build out my email list because if we do it right, you can actually create a pretty effective rising tide to lift all the members of that partnership. There are a lot of ways that you can create these partnerships. Then the two that come to mind immediately for me are collaborating on content development and distribution, of course, and working together to get people to register for an event that you're hosting. For example, Dean Isaacs and I work together on a monthly online panel-style event called the Community Table. It's something that we work together to coordinate, we plan it, we promote it together. We're also both we're front and center on this panel, so everyone knows that it's a collaboration between the two of us. When people RSVP for one of our Community Table sessions, Dean and I both get the RSVP list. Webinars and virtual events are a great way to add people to your email list too for the same reason. And because we're both working to promote this together, our reach is much greater than what either of us would see on our own. And as a result, so are the registrations and the names that are added to our email lists. Now, you do want to be careful with this type of a list building practice, because if your brand isn't closely associated with the content that you're offering people, they're not going to connect the dots, and you're just going to end up with a bunch of unsubscribes or spam complaints. You need to make sure that anyone who is going to be added to your email list in this manner, can connect the dots between what they're registering for and anyone involved in that partnership to make sure that it's a quality list building exercise for everybody involved. Now, there are a lot more ways to build out your email list, but the last method that I'm going to include in this list is sponsoring events. This is something that, again, it might cost a little bit of money, but if you choose the right event and manage your follow-up right, it can pay out huge dividends. Most events, when you sponsor them, either give you access to the registration list to send out one, maybe 2 emails after that event, or they'll send an email out on your behalf either before or after the event. This is a huge opportunity to build your list, but most people that I've seen try to take advantage of it waste it with some sort of a pitch to swing by the booth or check out our demo, and such a huge waste. I mean, I get the idea. You have the opportunity to get an email directly in front of highly qualified and targeted leads, so let's try and get them to convert in some way. On its face, it makes sense, but what if they're not ready for that conversion? You just wasted a great opportunity to collect some highly targeted leads for a little bit of brand awareness that'll probably fade away in pretty short order. Think about it from a long-term perspective. If you have one shot of getting into those people's inboxes, wouldn't it be better spent trying to get them to join your email list so that you have continued access to them? If you can get that person to fill out your form, then you don't have to rely on the event organizers to send emails for you or stop emailing them after one email. Once they filled out your form, they're now your lead that you can pursue as you please. So how do you do this? Well, think of a super relevant content offer that you can create for these folks. Maybe do some sort of a giveaway that people can enter by filling out your form. This follow-up is probably worth spending a little bit of money on because the leads that you're working with are so targeted. So get creative. Again, once they're on your list, you're free and clear. Hey, I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, maybe give it a share so that others can see it too. That always helps us with this YouTube algorithm. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so that you're notified every time that we post new videos. And while you're at it, check out the videos on the screen, and we will see you next time around. Cheers.